Train of thought, Dyad Dynamics. Here is a short story about a mountain train whose engine and caboose discover that staying on track is not about effort, advice, or fixing one another. It is about joining in a shared willingness to hear the voice for peace. Ernie the Engine waited at the foot of the mountains, steam curling gently from his chimney. At the far end of the train stood Chuck the Caboose, his little red lantern glowing warmly. Between them stretched a long line of passenger cars carrying worries, judgments, old memories, hidden fears, and stories that had been told so many times they seemed true. Before every journey, Ernie and Chuck made one agreement. Neither would believe the train's fearful stories. They would listen together and ask for help. With a bright whistle, Ernie called, "All aboard." Chuck answered from the rear, "We travel together." The wheels began their steady rhythm. Chug-chug, release. Chug-chug, find peace. Chug-chug, let spirit lead. The train climbed toward the mountains until a passenger named Clara pulled the emergency cord. "I am certain someone has wronged me," she cried. "I have gone over the story 100 times, and every time I feel worse." Ernie wanted to rush back with advice. He wanted to tell Clara what lesson to use, explain what she had done wrong, and make her feel better immediately. But the track entered a tunnel, and everything became dark. From the caboose, Chuck rang his bell once. It was their signal to pause. Ernie relaxed his wheels and asked inwardly, "Help us both, Holy Spirit. Show us what is helpful." Chuck gently asked Clara, "How do you feel when you think that thought?" "Angry," she said. Then she became quiet. "And underneath the anger, I feel afraid I will not be loved." Chuck did not correct her. He did not compare her story with one of his own. He did not pat himself on the back for knowing the answer. He simply said, "I am here with you. Let us ask together for another way to see this." As the train moved through the tunnel, Clara spoke honestly. She admitted the judgments she had hidden, the attack thoughts she was ashamed of, and the fear that telling the truth would make her unacceptable. Chuck held the railing beside her. "Darkness needs safety to come forward," he said, "but once it is brought to light, it does not have to remain hidden." At the front of the train, Ernie listened too. He remembered that Clara's peace was not his personal responsibility, and her results could not determine his worth. His part was not to change her mind. His part was to believe in her innocence and refuse agreement with suffering. The train crossed a high wooden trestle. Clack, clack, give and receive. Clack, clack, equal and join. Clack, clack, only love heals. In the next car, another passenger began describing every painful detail of his past. Ernie and Chuck allowed him to speak without buying a ticket to the story themselves. When he finished, they did not offer quick answers, old experiences, or clever quotations. Ernie asked, "Would you be willing to become quiet with us?" The passenger nodded. They took 3 gentle rounds together. First, he named the thought. Second, he noticed how it felt. Third, he offered it to spirit and let it drop. No one forced peace to appear. No one pushed the train uphill. Yet something softened naturally, as though the tracks themselves had turned toward joy. The train entered another tunnel, but this time the passengers were not afraid of the darkness. They knew the tunnel was only a place where hidden thoughts could be noticed and released. "Only in hiding did they seem powerful," Clara whispered. When the train emerged, sunlight poured across the windows. Snowy peaks rose ahead, clear and still. Ernie blew his whistle. "Toot toot! We are back on track," Chuck laughed. "We were never travelling alone." The passengers began moving from car to car, joining, communicating and listening without trying to rescue one another. They practiced saying what they truly felt. They stopped dancing around their fear with jokes and explanations. They discovered that being authentic did not mean making the ego's story true. It meant bringing every false thought to the truth. Ernie understood why an engine and a caboose belonged at opposite ends of the same train. They were mighty companions, supporting every car between them. Neither was higher or more important. Both listened for the same guidance. Both shared the same purpose. When one called for help, the other remembered peace. When one became confused, the other paused. When one forgot the track, the other held the agreement. The train finally reached the mountain station, where a sign read, "You are welcome here. Come toward your joy." The passengers stepped onto the platform lighter than when they began. Their problems had not been solved by effort. They had discovered the one problem hidden beneath all the others, the belief that they were separate from love, and they had allowed another thought to enter. Ernie rested beside Chuck beneath the evening sky. The engine did not save the caboose, Ernie said, and the caboose did not save the engine, Chuck replied. They listened as the mountain wind moved through the pines. We simply held hands with Spirit, Ernie said, and let Spirit do the work, said Chuck. Then the train's whistle echoed through the valley, reminding every traveller that peace returns whenever two minds join in a true invitation to see differently. May we sing, rest, and dance our way home together.